Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sporting160EN podcast. They're on episode 183. And although it was a bad result, we've got a great podcast for you today. Let me first introduce you to my co-host. First, got the main man, Chris. How you doing today, man?
I was honestly not doing too good yesterday. I feel like I finally came to the realization that there's only 6 games left. Like, I don't think Braga's going to drop half of those, and I don't think we're even going to win out. So it's like, maybe Conference League, maybe Europa League, depending on how the Tasa shakes out. It's in God's hands now, boys.
That it is. And next we got main man Richard. How you doing today, man?
I'm good. I'm kind of like Chris. I think the dream's slowly and steadily fading away into nothing. And in case you're wondering, the world is healing. We suck again. So all things are returning in nature as they.
But if we get a result on Thursday, bro, everyone will be back.
Well, then the dream, another dream, is alive and well. But until then, I reserve my right to doubt this.
Or the
team
catastrophe could compound as well.
Oh, it's going to be a disaster class. Yeah, I reserve my right to doubt this team until proven otherwise.
Fair enough. And last but not least, we got the birthday boy. Don't say we don't come prepared. It's the main man, Danny Sardan.
Happy birthday, big man.
Thanks, boys. RIP to headphone users also.
Bro, that gave me a heart attack. I was not expecting that.
But yeah, I didn't even know you could do that, honestly. That was sick.
Amazing.
Learned a new stuff at StreamYard.
Man, I have a lot of free time.
You and me both.
But yeah, glad to be on, boys. I'm gonna keep it real. I was solid. I was set on 4th place for a while now, especially after the Gil Vicente tie. But even more before this game, when fucking VAR took Gil Vicente's goal away from Braga just prior to our game, I realized the dream was over. But hey, man, I'm with you, Chris, bro. If we get Conference League, bro, I can't wait to win a European title. That's all I have to say.
Let's go. We're in with a chance.
We've got ground to start making up on Netherlands. I'll get started right
Exactly.
now.
How do you think they got their coefficient up?
Because they've got their 5th place teams way better than our 5th place team. Our 5th place teams are usually fucking ass.
Yeah, exactly. No, and they also had Feyenoord going to a final. They had fucking that's about it. But still, Feyenoord's one of their top 3.
Like PSV, Feyenoord, and Ajax have all spammed points the last 4 years, and then I think they've had some help with random teams like AZ Alkmaar and Vitesse and stuff. So
Alkmaar, I think, made a Conference League run last season. If I'm not
mistaken. A little bit, if I'm not mistaken. So it proves that outside of our top 4, no one's ever able to get coefficient points, whereas they're in with a chance.
Yeah, excellently said. But before we get into the next bit, of course, I'm going to share the giveaway. Not going to go too much into it because I say it every other episode and every other video we do. Just 1,000 subscribers. Make sure you put your proof of subscribing. We're about, I think, maybe 30, 45 away. I don't remember the last time.
We're less than 50. Come on, guys.
Yeah. So all you have to do, the links in the description. All you have to do is subscribe, take a screenshot, and reply to the pinned tweet, and you could win a chance to win a sporting jersey from Le Chauffeur. They're covering shipping, delivery, all that good stuff. Now, unfortunately, we have to review a game that was very boring to watch and an awful result as well. So I'll just share my screen and we'll get the lineups going. So it was Sporting 1, Arouca 1. Top missed the penalty, but then scored a penalty, which was a very dubious penalty call in my opinion, but we'll get there eventually. Let me read you the lineups as followed. So in goal, we had Adan, Coates, Diamonde, Matias Reis, Nuno Santos, Bellerin, Ugarte, Pedro Gonçalves, Trincao, and Trimiti, Morita, Rochinha, Esgaio, and Ignacio come off the bench. Danny, you're the birthday boy. What were your thoughts on this game?
Yeah, bro. Overall, we dominated them in terms of ball possession. But then, a mistake at the back. I can't even blame Adan for this time, all Diamante, the poor clearance just handed them a goal. And then we also had a penalty that we couldn't convert.
To be fair, to be fair, Adan comes out and he's
yeah.
nowhere near the ball. He's nowhere near the
He's
ball.
That
not even
also
a
doesn't
little
help.
close.
I'm gonna I don't want to shit
Yeah,
on
it's
on
not
Adan
his fault, but it is
because I've seen
hilarious
so much
also,
worse.
you know,
I've seen
on
him
top.
do so much worse. But yeah, I mean, I thought we played well. I honestly thought we deserved. We obviously deserved the win. It's without a question. I mean, Arouca, that second half was just like back to the good old days. I haven't seen a team shithouse like that in like a while. It's been a minute at least. So so much so that the fans started booing the one guy that actually got his ankle broken or whatever it is from a Diamante bomb just because 5 minutes prior, not even 5 minutes, Alan Ruiz was like rolling around on the floor for fucking no reason.
Their goalie probably wasted about 7 minutes on his own as well.
Easily. I mean, right towards the end, too, Shermiti goes up, barely touches them, and fucking the goalkeeper's down for the next 2 minutes.
He received treatment, bro.
He needed the fucking spray. Ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. But yeah, Shermiti, another poor performance. That was horrible. I don't understand a little bit when it comes to rotation. I mean, I guess I do. Juve is our season at this point. The Europa League is the only hope we have. But not seeing Morita in the midfield after the performance that he had, and then he comes in and he almost gets a goal off of a header. I thought was maybe questionable a bit. But overall, I mean, this 11 should be doing more. Again, back on Shermiti, I don't know what the fuck he's doing up there. The boy looks lost. I feel bad for him. I just seen a comment now just saying Tete is better than Shermiti. I mean, obviously, I hope if we're going to – I mean, I really hope that when they talk about reinforcing our strikers next year, it doesn't just mean Tete coming back on loan and we run it all over again with Paulinho Tete, Shermiti, Rodrigo Ribeiro. Like, that would be horrific.
I came back to hear Tete in the conversation, and I've my blood starting to boil.
No, but better than Shermiti all day, any day of the week, man.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not even up for debate.
Statement.
It's not.
It's brutal. It's brutal right now. Like Shermiti he's been so bad.
Shermiti can't run in behind defenders. The few times he does, he's offside. He can't get on the. He can't finish.
Here's the thing about it. Here's this happened like the amount of crosses. Both for headers or finishes with his feet, like he gets nothing but air on it. I've never seen a guy go up for headers, like look like he's in position to win it, and then just get nothing on it. It's crazy, honestly.
Yeah, it's insane. And then my last point is on Artur and a little bit on Roshinha. I mean, another calamity. I think it said there was a comment up here. Where is it? Another poorly planned season. All that matters now is Thursday. It is poorly planned because now we're stuck with Artur for God knows how long. And
stuck with Trincão as well.
But Trincão at least brings us something. I think there's still a player.
It brings us something sometimes.
Artur thinks he's fucking
Artur is
Neymar.
shit. He's not only shit, he's stupid. He's stupid. I can't remember the play now that actually had me fucking so pissed off.
Every single one of them.
He was really fucking annoying in this game.
Yeah,
he tries to beat.
Shermiti were infuriating to watch.
Yeah, Artur tries to beat the defender, realizes he can't, so he wastes so much time on a counterattack, passes it back to the defender. The one time Bellerin comes bombing through and he can send them through on goal, where Bellerin can maybe either cross it in the middle or he's even close enough to the goal where he can have a shot himself. What does Artur do? He shoots it right at the defender right in front of him.
Yeah.
Fucking moron. And
to be fair, these lads, it could be a completely different conversation because Artur actually plays a great ball right across the front of the goal to Shermiti.
And he doesn't get there.
Nothing but air. Doesn't get there.
It's
like, bro, stretch your legs, slide. You're 2 yards in front of the fucking goal.
The one time Artur does something. And then the thing that pissed me off, that I mean, I've been seeing Sam tweet about it on Twitter for all this time, and at first I'm like, I don't know, but now 100% with you, Sam. I'm 100% with you now, especially because we played Roshinha as a left wing back or whatever it was, and he still did more going forward than Artur did. I have to see what Roshinha is like in practice at this point, and I have to see what's Artur like in practice as well. This is ridiculous.
What does Shermiti like in practice?
Why are we not?
He must be the reincarnation of Pelé in practice.
In practice, what is
the lad can't complete a pass? He completed his first pass in the 58th minute.
horrible,
bro.
horrible, so bad. And that's it. That's all. Once I see Quats and Inshallah, it's like I know
you're
we're
done.
done
It's
for.
done. Like
I know
you
we're
have
done
no
for.
hope.
Yeah, 100%. I just want to give a shout out to someone on the Arouca bench called Apoku. He's got the funniest career path I've ever seen. Con Murphy actually shouted this out because we were on English TV on Free Sports, but his career path goes Fulham, Accrington Stanley, Plymouth, Arouca.
Like that's such a weird.
To be fair, yo,
He's
played
American,
well.
right?
It's a weird.
Yeah.
He came in at left
He's
back.
such a
Mostly played
mishmash.
center back. He played well again. I mean, he's a good player, bro. Respect.
Yeah.
1.97 centimeters, mate. He's quite tall. So, like, fair play to him. But I thought that was funny when Con Murphy said it. Shout out Con Murphy as well.
Arouca's scouting guys in League One. That's awesome, man.
That's pretty wild. That's such a mishmash of teams too.
It is.
To be fair, we
very
could be.
niche.
There's no way that we can't go to like League One of the Championship and get like a striker for like $4 million, and he wouldn't be like pretty good. I mean, I've been saying that for years, but like they can get like anybody and not pay that much.
We went to Mafra. We went to Mafra and got a pretty good center back.
Got a good center back. Like,
I'm sure we can go to Mafra and get a better striker than Shermiti.
Yeah, everybody who thought he was a second coming of Rafael Leao, I hope you eat shit. You're all fucking idiot losers.
What if he just like starts doing like this crazy regiment this summer and he just comes back and he's just
yoked
insane next season?
He just
That
comes
is
back
wishful
like,
thinking.
Yeah.
That'd be sick.
Nah, yeah, he should probably just get loaned out. Realistically, it's like, can he even play at Liga B win level?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
consistently?
he's 18. He can still go to university, man. Like,
he's still a minor in some places. Like,
yeah, it's like I don't even know what to do with him at this point. But it's like we'll talk about it, I guess. But Paulinho seems to be out. It's like we're just gonna keep playing him there forever. He's just like. There's nobody else, so it's just like.
Well, who do they have? They have Rodrigo Ribeiro, unless you decide to call TT back on loan.
But at the start of the season,
what do you do?
in the Champions League, they played, I think, a front three of Nuno Santos, Pot, and Edwards, or maybe Trincao, Pot, and Edwards. And they could just do that again, play a fluid front three. But for some reason, Amorim just keeps going with Chimiti.
I think they're gonna have to do that because it's like the lad's borderline getting unplayable. You know, at this point,
it's getting to be your.
Is he gonna start against Juventus like in a game we have to win?
God help me.
Bro, I would take Andre Clovis, by the way. As someone who follows Vizeo closely, he is an absolute baller.
Is he Luis Felipe? He's Luis Felipe of Vizeo.
Is it going to be? Is he?
He's bagging all these goals for a team in the Segunda Liga. Someone's gonna swoop.
Fighting for promotion, like someone will scoop him up.
Yeah, he's a good player.
I was gonna ask Sam, how many goals did he get for you in the first season at Football Manager?
Because I did that save last year, he wasn't there, man. So
I think he has 25 this season so far.
Because Vizeu got new.
Wow, that's good. That's really good, even by Segunda Liga standards.
Listen,
that's pretty good.
Let me also just say, Sam's the type to not want Navarro, but he's down for fucking Clavish, bro.
Andre Clovis is.
I'm
is
just
the
saying,
goat,
if we had money, why not both? But we don't have money.
What is Clovis' value even?
Yeah.
But Clovis came in.
All right, to transfer market we go.
Vizeu got a takeover, and they spent. I think they got the record signing in the second division, which I think is 3.5 million on maybe a centre back or a midfielder. So like 3.5 million in the Segunda Liga is.
Yeah. I remember being like, yeah, that's crazy.
So yeah, hopefully they get promoted so I can watch them when I go over because Vizeu a good team as well. But
you
I think
still
they're
watch them when you go over. They just won't be put in the league.
Yeah, exactly. So it's boring. So
it's boring. It's boring. But to be fair, Leiria drew more than like every first division team this year.
Very
playing
true.
In Liga 3.
Same with Bolnense. Like their games dude, they're very close to clinching Liga 2. Like they're gonna maybe.
I think it was on Reddit today. They were gonna tie like the most like for most like promotions or something in like a certain span of time because they had to climb like the multiple districts.
I don't know if they had any seasons where they haven't got promoted.
I think that's what it was. I saw it on like Reddit or something today that they were like there's only like one or two other teams that have had like the same amount of promotion the same amount of time as they have.
Yeah. Chris, what were your overall thoughts on this game as well?
Yeah, it's a frustrating game, obviously. I mean, I truthfully didn't even realize how bad the Arouca shithouse. I mean, I obviously knew that they were shithousing, but then I saw that they only had 4 shots, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
What I really thought was actually potentially about to happen, their only shot in the second half was a very good look from about 18 yards out in like the 89th minute. And the dude kind of scuffed it a bit, but it's like, bro, watch them just score this right now.
If they had, it would have been like I would have wanted.
It fell to him perfectly. He like, oh my god. I thought that was how it was gonna end potentially.
They score that, Alcochette 2.0.
A draw. I was like, when we got the second PK, I was like, that is very dubious. But they're probably not gonna overturn it because it's like you can't really tell it's clear and obvious error.
Yeah,
I
still
happened.
think there's enough contact there that you can call it. You know what I mean? And he doesn't really go for the ball at all, so it's easy to call it penalty.
Yeah, and then so I was like, oh, there is enough time. Like we could score here. You know, we probably have a.
Well, they gave us like
plus 10. I was like thinking there was gonna be plus 10. We got 11. I was like, we got like 15 minutes here to score another one. And then we had a couple of chances, Kawat's desperation efforts, but their goalie was pretty good, and he was wasting time, and they were just organized defensively. It's clear why they're 5th, bro. It's a decent team, man, and we should have beaten them. Obviously, we had like 20 plus shots, multiple posts, but yeah, at the end of the day, it did feel lifeless at times. It did feel out of ideas. Cruise the ball. By the end, the last 15 minutes was just straight cruise the ball. It was just ram it wide and just fucking punt it in and hope something happens. But like they had 3 center backs, you know, playing all good center backs, and they have like a back line, a line of 6 at times, you know, and they're winning everything. And it's like multiple times, it's like they kind of look like they could have maybe broke. Ruiz like dribbles 2 dudes, passes it, and it's like, oh, they have a 3-on-3 now. Like, can they break? And they kind of fucked it up a few times. That they like could have had more, maybe, you know, on the break. But like, I'm truthfully shocked we didn't lose this game. But at the end of the day, a draw basically feels like a loss. We already knew Braga had one coming in. They're just running out of games left. You know?
Yeah, there's just not enough time to make up.
The gap is getting too big, and there's just getting to be too many games. And yeah, when the whistle blew at like the 103rd minute, I was like, I think that might be it for us boys, to be honest.
Yeah, fair enough. Richard, I mean, you're so angry you switched to a Boca Juniors shirt. So
I'm boycotting this team now. As long as we keep putting this up, I'm wearing a different. I got like 40 shirts upstairs. I'll boycott and wear anything with Sporting at this rate. The way we're going. Yeah, this was pitiful. It was cruise the ball towards the end, like Chris said. There's not much to add. Like, it was just awful. And yeah, we're running out of games. There's not enough games to make up. I don't think Braga is going to drop points at this rate, or at least not enough points. And I don't think the way we've played, we're going to even be able to make up points if they dropped all the points. Like, they could lose every game. I still don't know that we could win every game. Like, we have Benfica at home, and with our luck, they're going to be champions at the Alvalade. They're going to win the fucking league at the Alvalade. And we're going to have to listen about that till the end of goddamn time because we're the meme team.
Well, I mean, it happened to them last year, to be fair. So
I know, but it was funnier because it's them. Now it's going to be us.
Yeah.
Like, fuck. This is what it's like.
And to be fair, they're used to it by now. That's like the 3rd time that Porto's, in my lifetime,
has done that at the luge. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I did call it a while ago. I said I think we're probably going to be in Conference League next season. I don't see us catching Braga, and every week it seems closer and closer that Nostradamus is right on that one. Sorry to say.
I mean, basically, if Braga wins the Taça de Portugal, though, which it seems like they're going to be in the final, right?
More than likely. Yeah.
Basically, we don't want Famalicão to win the Taça de Portugal.
Yeah,
is the
you
only thing
want
that can fuck us.
Braga or Porto to win.
But if Braga or Porto win the Taça de Portugal, we're gonna be in the Europa League third preliminary round. Then.
Yeah. So,
But if Famalicão wins,
we're in
then
conference.
We're in a conference league, boys.
Yeah. And that's
Or if Nacional somehow comes back from a 5-goal nothing.
If Nacional Barcelona's them, like, good luck. Sure. They're gonna need more than just hope and a prayer.
But even then, I guarantee you they wouldn't play Europe because, bro, they're fighting for relegation in Segunda Liga. Right now.
Like
they ain't playing Europa League group stage, dude.
Yeah. Like family Cal would be fine because
Famalicão probably would though, you know.
Well, because they're in first, like they're safe, and
they definitely would.
Their stadium's been updated recently.
They like almost got to Europe that one time. Remember they were pushing for it, so like they
were
definitely
stuck in fifth for like.
They have money too, so they're not gonna fuck around like options.
No, they 100% would, you know.
No, and their stadium's been updated way more recently than Ov's, which is like never been updated. It looks like. Yeah. So like conditions wise, they would be pretty well okay. Because I know that was one of the big.
Arouca might have to get some of their shit together if they want to do it.
Arouca might, or they might just stick them at the Municipal de Aveiro, which is what they've done a few times when their stadium's not been qualified for like league games and stuff. They've moved them to whatever the closest municipal stadium.
But that costs money, so
it does cost money. I guess it's up to the club. Is it worth it for them to get the money? They might. Depends.
Yeah.
You know.
And if
Guimarães somehow tracks them down, then that point becomes moot anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Knowing the Portugal's luck though, Arouca is getting relegated next season, so putting money down on that.
Yep, that's a safe. I think that's a safe bet, at least to be in the relegation fight. I would say.
Yeah.
I wouldn't pick them finishing anywhere above like 15th or 14th.
Nope.
In the league, they're not finishing anywhere close to mid-table. I don't think.
No, definitely not. I'll say a few things about this game, but I won't repeat too much of what's been said already. Hector Bellerin was awful. I thought Brandon said it in the comments as well, but he was just awful. So useless. And like, to be fair, I know we've shit on this guy a lot, but he's been good the last few weeks. And like, if this was like a rest issue, then fine. But if it was like, now he's going to be the permanent right back. Well, until the end of the season, until he joins Betis anyway. But I just didn't understand it, and I thought he was awful. Then Esgaio came on anyway. I know it wasn't a straight swap, but Bellerin was just awful. And I think apart from the goal that he scored like a month ago, he really doesn't bring that much. And considering how much Porro brought to the table, I'm not saying we could have found another Porro like that, because obviously
you're not finding a like for like replacement for cheap at that rate. Like,
yeah, exactly. But Diamonde as well. I don't know how much it is to do with with Ramadan and not eating or drinking until quite late. But I think he's been off as well the last few weeks. But like I said, with Ramadan.
I saw a very alarming stat about his aerial duel win rate. It's like one of the lowest in the entire Primera Liga for center backs, which is like, he's winning like less than half of his aerial duels.
That's not ideal.
Alarming. His performance yesterday was simply put alarming. And I don't know how much is Ramadan and how much is the initial surge wearing off. I don't know what the deal is, but like he seems like he's not good right now.
Yeah, facts. And then, like we said, Chimitia was awful, and he has been awful. And I said it since he first started playing that he is not a Sporting player. He's not. I'm not going to be. I'm not going to lie. I think he's not even a first division player at this point. There are so many strikers that I would take over from like Murito, even in Paco de Ferreira. I take their striker over Chimitia. But I just don't understand as well, because with Rodrigo Ribeiro, I think he only came on in the B team last game for the last 15 minutes. So he's not starting for the B team. Clearly not starting for the A team. Doesn't even get picked for the A team. So it's like, what has Rodrigo Ribeiro done to be dropped so harshly? So from debuting against Man City at 16 years of age or 17 years of age, however old he was, to then not playing a single game, not even for the B team, not starting. Something must have gone wrong.
He had to have pissed somebody off in training, or his attitude. It's got to be an attitude thing at that point, surely.
Yeah.
It's got to be something with training.
Because Amorim said something as well during a press conference that was that was like sort of saying like, oh, he's a good player, but he needs to work more or something. I can't remember the exact quote. But for me, it's just like at this point, just pick anyone else or do the fluid front three with Trincao and Nuno Santos. Speaking of which, Nuno Santos being subbed off was stupid, especially because
I disagree
is
with
like
that,
Nuno
yeah.
Santos.
And he was our best player at the time.
Yeah,
exactly. I found that sub baffling too, Sam.
And Nuno Santos did as well because he wasn't really happy.
I knew that he was going to be.
But he's always getting subbed off too. So I feel him on this point, man.
Yeah, especially
he does always get subbed off no matter what.
Like
and he got subbed off for Rochinha or some shit like that, bro. Like,
it was Rochinha. And considering how bad Arthur Gomez was, like we've mentioned, and how he's let's be honest, he had the great Spurs goal, and that was it.
Yeah,
there was literally nothing else, and literally that was in like the last 2 minutes of the game. Ever since then, he's looked lost. He doesn't look like a great player.
He's had like a couple moments outside of that, but not much, man.
But like Nuno Santos being subbed off and he's still been on the pitch. Rochinha literally most of the time not even making the starting squad or bench, like being left at home because he's
sitting in the press box basically. Like
even to the extent you guys know I don't like Jovan, but at this point, like if he wasn't injured, obviously, still Arthur Gomez keeps starting over Jovan. So it's just like I don't understand why he's here. And I said it after the game. There is at least 5 players in this team, or 6 players that I don't want back next year. Adan is obviously one of them for me. Bellerin is another one for me. Otto Gomez is another one for me. Matheus Reis, I think this season he's been absolutely shocking. You could put him there as well. Jamiti, again, I was trying to think off the top of my head. Jovan, who's already leaving, thank God, I think.
Is he?
I think
he's been leaving for like 4 years.
I wouldn't count on that one, bro. He's the new whatchamacallit. He's gonna become that guy.
Philippe Chabi.
Yeah,
Philippe Chabi, except he's never on loan. He's just
we'll start loaning him out to Academica this season.
Yeah.
If Academica doesn't go into fucking administration, sure.
Yeah, and another one for Tau as well.
Where's Fatau been, by the way?
He's getting shocking results for the B team.
Yeah,
who are gonna maybe get relegated, bro, out of Liga 3.
I mean, our B team's ass, anyways. Like, great. Well, yeah, that's a good point. I haven't seen them
of the promotion group, and now they're gonna be relegated. Maybe.
What a time to be alive.
But like that as well, and like I think we said we've done this podcast for what 5-6 years, and I feel like every season apart from maybe 2020 or 2021 and 22 we said we needed to rebuild, but this one genuinely feels like we actually need a full rebuild.
I know we can blow the team up and suck it up for a couple
and years. Probably 2 of the better 3 players will not be there.
Exactly. That's the thing.
Like Ugarte won't be there, and Edwards, or Pot and Edwards, or Pot and Ugarte.
I think Pot stays because of the pass.
Or Inacio and Pot, or Inacio and Edwards, right? Maybe 3 if we're lucky,
Yeah.
But
minimum one.
No Champions League, right? It's like I don't see a world where 2 to 3 don't go.
If you're gonna do it, like, it's gonna suck for a couple years. You see it it's more North American. Yeah, you're not gonna win shit for maybe 2 years, but you gotta look long term. They gotta blow it up and start over. It's bad. Like, the league title was a weird anomaly. I think we had a really good follow-up season. I will say I thought we played well, but you could already see the cracks starting to show even then. And now the cracks aren't just there; it's a full-blown catastrophe, and the ship is sinking. They've got to abandon ship at this point. They got to start over,
or they have one of those off seasons where they just bring in like 12 guys, bro. But I feel like
they have to do something, because you can't run it. You can't objectively think you're
like Artur Gomes will be back.
I
get it. Like Artur Gomes will be back. Matheus Reis will be back.
Well, because there's guys who have no resale value.
I guarantee.
I think
Rochinha gets sold, and I know it's going to happen.
Yeah, he's going back to Guimarães.
He might not be back.
But like,
because he's not going to want to stay.
No, why would you? I don't blame him. Why would you want to stay when you're getting 0? You're not even riding the bench. You're sitting in the friggin' player's box. You're in the stands like 90% of the time.
Yeah, and he's from Guimarães too. I know his family probably would prefer to be back there, shit like that. So makes sense. I think with Mateus Reis, it might just be a bad season. I'm with you though, Sam. But I still can't forget the type of player he was. I think he can. I don't necessarily think we need a rebuild, or I'm not looking for anything like. If you guys remember the 12-13 season, where we bought like 15 fucking players, Boularus was one of them and shit like that.
Wasn't that like the
and then we got
years?
we got like 7th place, I think, that season, or the season after was.
We were fighting relegation for like a month.
7th place. So yeah, I mean, but we definitely need to lose pieces. I think, and not to solely blame it on him. I think obviously the whole team was shit. But if we think about how many games Adán has cost us this season, I think we would be at the very least closer to Braga at this point. Maybe just getting into 4th after this draw today, for example, right? I think
we could have been sitting here in the Champions League, obviously not like the semi-finals, quarterfinals. We could have been in the Champions League, let's say around 16 quarterfinals, maybe. We could have been.
Maybe one.
What if instead of Benfica, what if we got Bruges? You know what I mean? Like we could have easily been in the quarters right now too. Facing Benfica,
and that's big money too.
Exactly.
If you get big money just for playing in the group stages. If you get to the round of 16, that's a lot of money. If you get to the quarterfinals, that's life-changing money for a club like Sporting.
Of course,
that's changing your life.
And with a president like Varandas, who's just so happy to just sell players and say like he did this year, where he sold players and didn't care about like the structure of the team, where it's finances first. Obviously, that'll make a big difference on how many players get sold next year. But you guys were saying 1 or 2, 1 minimum. I'm scared 3 or 4 of our best players are gone.
I think the only one who stays is Pot because of his back.
No, I hear you though.
Unless someone offers a fucking bag.
I think Aston Villa come in for 40 million. Sporting's happy to split 20-20, like 20 mil with Famalicão, because we got 20 mil for Palinha. Ugarte, I think, is also gone, which basically goes our midfield. Inácio, I'm worried about Inácio being gone because of just how deep we are in center back. That's 3 of our more.
He seems to be very well regarded in England as well.
Exactly.
There's been a lot of rumors linking
Edwards can easily go to England. Edwards
is waiting to go to England. He's already got one foot at the door to go to England.
And I guarantee you, nothing really tells me that he is this type of player. It just seems like a type of player, maybe because he's English, that if one English team comes for him, that's it. He's not going to training. He's shutting up shop until he gets that move back home. And I see that happening this summer, especially now if that we're out. It depends on what happens in Juve, right? I think no matter what, by Thursday there's good news for us, because either it means that we only have 6 more games left, thank God, or we got 2 more games and we might get shit stomped against Man United anyway. Who cares? At this point, at this point, I was gonna say, at this point, I think we might not even play United, and at this point, I think I would take United. If we can pass Juve, maybe we can get a result against United. But anyways, I doubt. I don't think we're getting past Juve.
That'd be the game. That'd be the game they decide to all go sicko mode. Yeah. It'd be that would be the game. It would be our.
We have a good track record this year against English teams, so I wouldn't put us, not to beat United necessarily, but
we have a good.
I don't even think we're getting
against this season in big games. We've actually turned up. Benfica away at the Luge, we turned up and we played well. Obviously, Arsenal home and away, we turned up. Frankfurt, Tottenham. The first game, we turned up. Maybe not the second one. Tottenham, like you said, both games. We turned
the
up.
second one.
Marseille
we turned up. No. Marseille, we turned up. One player fell asleep and fucked it up for us all.
The guys only made 2 mistakes all season.
The guy only made 2 mistakes in that game.
Exactly.
Let alone the fucking season.
But yeah,
like,
we
can't even.
Someone has seen the script. We're gonna play well against Juve. Are we gonna get through?
James, I hope you're right.
He's leaking the script.
But all I'm saying is Juventus also lost. So in that measure, they'll also play well.
They're shit, bro. We just saw them play. They fucking suck, dude.
We could have won that game.
They're literally bailed out by having like a very good center back and like attackers that can sometimes make something happen. That's it, bro. They're so average.
Paul Pogba
beats them, bro. Yeah. Like I guess that they like kind of got fucked with the points reduction, and they'd be, I think, in 3rd without that. But like
they'd be in a Champions League spot at minimum.
They suck. They're not winning Europa
in that
League.
game.
They're not winning the Europa League, even if they go
No.
through. There's no shot, right?
No.
No way.
I don't think so. But there's three other things I want to mention. The first one was when we lost, I think Boavista. Amorim said there's going to be a new cycle at Sporting, and Mateus Fernandes was called up, Fatal was called up, all these players were called up. Where are they now? There was no new cycle. He lied pretty much, and then literally there's no youngsters coming in. If you look at this game, Morita, Rochinha, Gaio, Inacio, like these are all the same guys that started and played against Boavista back in the day. So it's just like it's either there is a new cycle and all these players are called up. Asugo for some reason gets minutes in Europa League.
He gets only minutes in like big games. Like,
yeah, it's weird.
Yeah,
Fatal too. Fatal only plays against Porto.
Yeah, and like, 2 minutes against Arsenal, which then rules him out of the
which was baffling to me as well. It's like, why would you bother? Like, what's the point of that appearance?
Yeah. So that's like the first point I want to make. The second point is the one. I think me, Danny, and Chris had a disagree about this, and this was about there was a tweet that went around saying about Coates leaving and should he leave, and what the repercussions could be, and like would you see him leave? So I'll preface this by I said I am happy for him to leave right now, and that's not knocking him. He's obviously a club legend. He's been a great servant, but at this moment in time, he hasn't had the best season. He's playing on practically one knee, which is hanging by a thread at this point. We've been awful, obviously, but he's had a few mistakes. The one against Frankfurt comes to mind where for some reason he like did the YMCA and got the handball.
Yeah.
And there's been a few other mistakes he's made as well. To be fair,
he just lost half a step, kind of. I would say.
He's lost a step, yeah.
Yeah, and that's due to age, and it's obviously due to injury as well. But so I said I'd be happy with it. Danny, I know you disagreed with that, but like, what were your thoughts?
I was more so a little heated off the disrespect that Coates gets when he's not as bad as people make him out to be. And I agree, though he has lost a step for sure. I still think he has another good season in him for us, at least one more. I remind everybody again, the season before we won the league, he had like 4 own goals, 2 in a game or some shit like that, and then multiple red cards.
Like an awful game.
Exactly. I still think he's a solid center back for us, especially in this 3 in the back system where he's playing in the center for the most part. And I mean, I look at our back line and I think he's at maybe the second best, if not the best center back we still have in the club. I mean, Inacio has his moments. Inacio started this season off poor. That's why he didn't get called up for the national team. I mean, Sam, you also just mentioned Mateus Reis. Is he a left back? Is he a center back? We're playing him center back at least. And
he's not.
It's not really hitting.
He's not. I don't think he's a left back.
As long as he's in like pretty much unable to do anything mode, then he has to be a center back.
Mm-hmm.
I agree. Netu's, Netu. Diomande started off great, but is slowly maybe getting too comfortable. He's not as good on the ball as maybe we initially thought. I still think he's a great player. Don't get me wrong. I still think this time next year we might be talking about Diomande going to a big club. You know what I mean? But who else is our center backs that I can't? I feel like we have one more that I can't.
Maybe it is good that he's kind of slowing down a little bit because
Juice. Yeah,
that's why I forget about right away.
He's hurt.
Well, I forget about him because he barely plays. You know what I mean? So his one knee is hanging on a thread, but he still has more minutes than St. Just has in this season than St. Just has probably over the last 3 seasons. You know what I mean?
St. Just has no knees, no hamstrings, and no shoulders.
Yeah. Fucking hell.
He's just a torso.
So, I mean, in that case, I still think we should keep Coates. Of course, if a Newcastle want to splurge, of course, we have to take that big paycheck, but it's not going to happen. That's why we should keep Coates because that is still like the foundation in the back line. We can't be chopping and changing too much. And we just and not you, Sam. It was more so to that one tweet that I was reacting to. We need to treat our legends with a bit more respect. Because there's a reason why
he wanted to be personal.
Yeah, there's a reason why sometimes people may leave or may backstab Sporting or may leave Sporting and maybe don't have the fondest of memories of us. We could be an amazing fan base, but at times, even like Bruno Carvalho said, Sportingistas são malucos. You know what I mean? Like,
there's some very toxic fans.
Yeah.
Alcachet proved that. There's some very toxic subsections of this fan base.
Which isn't just, to Sporting. It's a Portugal problem, but
It's because it's. I think people don't like football; they like clubs.
yeah.
I think there's a difference of opinion on that. There's people who love their clubs, but they don't necessarily really like football the same.
Which don't get me wrong. I think I love my club a bit more than I love football, because if we get like a bullshit penalty in the 99th minute against Benfica, for the sake of football, you don't want that. As a Sportingista, I will love that.
Yeah,
I'll take that. I'll chop my own hand off for that shit. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, fair enough. Chris, what are your thoughts on the Coates debate? Do you share the same outlook as Danny or myself?
Yeah, I mean, I think that even if he isn't like an every game starting 90 minutes, which, to be fair, like this season he literally hasn't been. How many times has he been subbed in like the 70th minute? Seemingly just because like he really can't go on much longer, right? Or his knee's hurting or whatever. So I'm skeptical if he plays a full season with high usage rate that he'll even be able to stay healthy the whole time, it seems like. So yeah, I think that he definitely has the quality to stay. And if it's like the 87th minute, it's 2-1. It's like, yeah, throw him on. And for set pieces, for corners, he's an aerial threat constantly. He does kind of have he's not that bad of a hold up play when he is up top, to be fair. Obviously for being it like that's like not a prime ability that like most center backs need to have. So they don't necessarily all have like the greatest technical ability, but his is certainly above average, I would say. Especially for size. So I also he's a captain, leadership aspects of it. To be fair, you only need so many of those guys. So it's like if he's going to fill that role, then I think maybe Luis Neto shouldn't be a real option. Because if you notice, even to this Arouca game, at the very end when he was shuffling Coates up top, I think he went with Esgaio at the center back spot, right? Yeah. He had Neto on the bench. It's like, I don't know. I felt like if Neto was like, I think Neto was just kind of like it was cool to see him come out and like get to play again. We were winning big, right? I don't know if he's a serious option. It's like we don't need two leadership center backs with, potentially like up in the air like health situations. I don't know. I think Diamande is that starting center back in the back three, assuming Amorim's the coach, right? And we're playing it back three. I think that Diamande is the starting center back next season, right?
Yeah. Fair enough. Richard, what about you? Are you a Coates in? Or, well, I guess it's not really that simple, but what are your thoughts on
I'm kind of like with Chris. If you're going to keep a leadership, like a guy strictly for kind of leadership and
contribution when needed, Brad.
I think you go with Coates and you let Neto go. And I like Luis Neto. I'm a big Luis Neto guy, but if you're only going to keep one, and like, let's be honest, we're not exactly going to be getting big money next year from competitions. So it might make sense to cut back on the salary and let one go and keep the guy who's been here longer and can still contribute at a somewhat high level, as opposed to the guy who's going to kind of ride the bench for the most part. Like, you might get some garbage minutes when we're pumping a team like 4-0, or, might get like 45 minutes or 40 minutes in a Taça Liga game against some team people have never heard of. Like, go ahead. I'm of the opinion keep Coates. I think you're off him until he tells you otherwise. I think that's a guy you try to do right by. Like, I let him make the decision. I don't make the decision for him when he wants to go. I think he's earned that much.
Yeah, fair enough. The only other thing I could see
obviously, if he wants to leave to go back, then it's like.
And if he wants to go, then you do what you can. You help facilitate it. Like, he's earned that right. He's been here long enough where I think and won enough where
because he doesn't strike me as a guy that's going to be going until 39, 40 for his boyhood club.
How old is he now?
I think he's 34.
33.
He's probably got like a couple years left. Yeah, he's not going past like 36.
With that knee, I really don't think so. I think he might have one or two max. that knee has been bothering him since he first joined. So like,
And we've seen it get worse over time, you know?
Yeah, and you think like how much, like, for example, I think LeBron James spends like $2 million a year just like on like rehab,
just
on
on health and rehab.
So how much is Coates rehabbing that knee? And like we've
He's
seen
not spending $2 million a year on
He's
it.
spending
Yeah,
he's spending like a few dollars, maybe, but not $2 million.
You need to get a refund if that's the case. But but like it gets to a point where, like, for example, the only one that comes to mind is like Dirk Nowitzki. He said he can't like play with his children, like can't bend down because his knees were that shot. He was like rehabbing them every other time.
Tall guys always have issues with their knees, right? So like it's probably doubly bad for a dude like him.
Yeah, but is it going to be a case where Coates like runs until he can't run anymore and his knee gives out and like he can't walk properly, walks with a limp? Because we've seen like some footballers have that issue and like they just don't know when to stop.
That's gonna be Nani. Like if Nani comes back to play, he's gonna.
Oh, he's coming back, bro.
He's coming back, but he's gonna. And I love Nani. I know Lauren's here; she's gonna hate me first, but like he's gonna be a shell of himself. Like, is it really worth it for him to come back now at like in his late 30s to play for some random ass team?
We'll see.
On the star, baby.
We'll see if he still got sauce. The ACL didn't fully get torn. So
I mean, I'd take him at Beta Mark because our promotion host just got.
If anything, it's gonna help him out even more, bro. His leg's gonna go one way, his kne's gonna be the other way, bro. These defenders will never know what the fuck they're looking at, bro.
That's because he won't know where he's going. He was like that. He's like, where am I going? I don't even know.
Yeah,
Coates strikes me as a player who might do that. He might just run until his body literally decides to quit on him.
Yeah, because I think he has like knee tendonitis, which is like your knee would be in agony for quite a while, like especially after running. And like we've had so many games this season, so many that aren't like. I think we have like 9 or 8 games in April alone.
To be fair, if you guys remember when Ronaldo at the 2014 World Cup like couldn't run.
It was bad. Like
that
he
was
should not have been
tendinitis,
playing.
and I bet he literally did spend $2 million a year rehabbing that shit.
Yeah,
and he still was never quite the same guy after that. Like that's screwed.
But he doesn't look like he's like addled by it long term like Coates.
No.
You know.
Yeah.
I think like that injury specifically screwed him up long term, but not to the extent that Coates has.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. But the third point I was actually going to make was we've needed a striker since Bastos left. And we brought in for Luis Felipe, didn't work. We brought in Sporard, didn't work. Brought in Paulinho. I love Paulinho, but it's not really worked out. Like I know we won a league title, but like he's not the striker we need. And like right now, we have 2 strikers. Well, 1.5, I would say, because I don't really count Schmidt as an out-and-out striker. He's too young to even be considered. If you look at Benfica, you look at Braga, you look at Porto, you look at any other team in the league, they've got 2 strikers that can score goals. And if teams like Braga have like Abel Ruiz, they have Banza, these are guys.
They had Vitinha at one point. They had 3 guys who could be world beaters. Like
and we barely have one. And like I don't understand Amorim's stubbornness to not sign a backup striker, because I understand that if Paulinho is your guy, then fair enough. But if Paulinho gets injured, which is
what's your plan B?
Yeah, he clearly didn't have one. He was like, shit, who do we have? Jimmy? Okay, come on. And that was it. So
there's no like Freddie Montero type guy on the roster because
there's no backup option. There's no.
There hasn't been one for like 4 years.
No, like you said, they brought in Luis Felipe. It worked when he was playing dog shit teams. But when you had to play a medium to like okay team, it was never gonna work. Sporard never really got going, but also never really got a chance. They kind of gave up on him really quickly. Paulinho's Paulinho, the enigma himself. They've not given Rodrigo Ribeiro a chance. They've not. Schmidt sucks. We've had intermittent spells of Pedro Mendes when he scored the 1 Europa League banger and was swiftly never heard of again.
We signed Jesse Rodriguez and Yannick Balassi on the same day, both to play
because they were panic loans. Those were panic loans because. And I said at the beginning of the season, people called me a bad man. This season gave me shades of that season where we would not replace any of the sales adequately. It just didn't seem like anything was planned.
100% a panic.
He was the panic buy. He was the Balassi Jesse of this
a bad signing that's turned out to be.
Brutal sign.
Where did he come from? Was it Panathinaikos, right?
Panathinaikos, yeah.
And we sent Sporar the other way for the exact same amount, I'm pretty sure. So it's another shame.
It was like a like for like, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like we didn't make any money, they didn't make any money, but we both got new players out of it. So
we also just don't like the scout. They also just
he is playing decently for them. I think he has like 12 league.
He's double-digit goals, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
They also just almost refuse to scout outside of Portugal anymore. Like, say for Tanlongo on a free, and like Sotiris, they
Tanlongo. I mean, I guess the jury's still out on him, but he
doesn't get. They haven't really played him much, right? Like he's not had a ton of time to show much.
And like, I don't know if he will play when Braganza comes back. I know that's probably won't even be fit like at the start of next season. It'll probably be
I think
like October, November.
Blew out his knee, right? Like that's gonna be. You're lucky if he comes back as even like the half.
He blew it out in that summer though, so I mean,
it was like the last game of preseason, wasn't it? So it was like
it was one of the last games. Yeah.
So August will be like 12 months. Yeah, you can be back within like 9 to 12 months, you know.
Yeah, but
it can also
not going to be the player he was. Yeah, and like they don't scout outside of Portugal. They almost refuse to scout outside of Portugal. They don't go to MLS, which I don't get because there's affordable players in MLS if you really want to look. They don't go to South America almost ever anymore. Like they're relying on these I get relying on the academy, but they're relying on these random like no names from like fringe leagues at best, or like the Portuguese leagues like leftovers at this point. Like it's brutal.
Yeah, fact. But yeah, we just need. I think this leads me to the question because we did get a few Twitter questions today, so I'll share my screen and we'll go through them. We only got 3, but one of them is a very interesting one from Paul Rodriguez, and he says, rank the biggest issue that Sporting need to improve. So he says, new goalkeeper, new striker, another centre back, new right wing back, Amorim's tactics, new left wing backs, or any other issue. I'll start in my I'll say top 3. Goalkeeper, 100% number 1, and it should be, but it won't be, which is very.
I think striker's actually ahead of goalkeeper.
I think striker's ahead of goalkeeper. You can mask a bad goalkeeper if you have a striker.
I don't think so, because I think goalkeeper firstly because Adan.
I actually think they need 2 goalkeepers. To be honest.
Exactly, Adan has let in so many goals, and Franco Israel looks like a pro club's goalkeeper whenever he plays.
Franco Israel's an NPC, dude.
Yeah. Like I don't know why, but then like striker, the reason I say second is because as much as I don't like Thiago Tomas, he's probably going to come back and play a few games.
They're not buying.
They're not re-signed. No one's going to take him. He's not done almost.
For like 14 million, bro. What are they, idiots?
Like that's you'd be better off lighting. No offense to Thiago Tomas, like you'd be better off lighting your money on fire.
Yeah, but like I guess you can interchange that. But for me, it's goalkeeper number 1, striker number 2, and then number 3. Amorim's tactics, because it's sometimes, like I said, no plan B. We play the same formation, and it's very easy to read, and it's very easy to counter, as we saw when we missed a penalty against Arouca and they went down the other end and score. For me, it's just like there are so many things that Amorim is just stubborn. And I guess maybe tactics isn't the right word, because like transfer market, like the striker thing as well. But just like playing the same players, even though they have awful games, and it's because Amorim is loyal to a fault. Whereas like Paulinho had so many bad games. Fair enough, Paulinho literally you can't replace him because either him or Chamiti. So Paulinho played. But even at the time, the Slimani was there, Sporar was there, and he got rid of Sporar to bring in Paulinho. And like we mentioned, Arthur Gomez was playing awful. He did bring him off. As Gaio kept playing other games when he could have been bought off. There's just so many things that he's just too stubborn to admit that, like, okay, the Paulinho experiment isn't working at the moment, or maybe not recently, but Gaio wasn't playing as well, and he kept bringing them on and stuff like that. And just his stubbornness is another reason. I think those 3 are the top 3. With the other ones, a centre back isn't, I don't think, high on the priority unless Inacio leaves, and I guess you can put that there. Left wing back, I actually like Nuno Santos, so I don't mind in there. And like there is a question mark if Vinagre comes back, because Everton are definitely not buying Vinagre.
Oh, fucking God, no.
Wherever Vinagre comes back and plays for us again is a different issue, and I don't think it will be. But I guess you could give him a preseason, I suppose.
You give him a couple exhibition games at the very least. You never know. He might surprise you, but don't count on it.
Yeah, and a right wing back as well. It depends. I guess we need a backup one, but I've I don't want to say I've seen enough of this guy for them to make him like the permanent starter, but the way
we desperately need.
They need a right back.
Especially for this formation, bro. Like when we had 2 world-class wingbacks, this formation was awesome. You know.
Yeah, we don't have 2 world-class wingbacks anymore, so it doesn't work.
Yeah, fair enough. But
it doesn't work for many reasons, but yeah, that certainly doesn't help.
Yeah, fair enough. So my top 3 were goalkeeper, striker, and Williams tactics. Chris, I'll hear your top 3.
So I guess my top 3, will go striker, goalkeeper. Maybe tactics or wing back then tactics as top 4.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then probably, to be honest, there's something that's not even listed here that we probably will need, which is another midfielder.
Yeah. I'm surprised that's not
assuming Ugarte. I mean, he's still here for now, right? But
it depends if Amorim thinks either Tanlongo is ready or, like we said, Braganza comes in. If Sugo gets more minutes,
but you're counting on Braganza being the same player coming off of a devastating knee injury.
And I wouldn't say Braganza is necessarily a 6.
But for me, Braganza was never pace or shot. It was passing and
it's more of an 8,
the game.
I would say.
Yeah.
Ball IQ was his thing. So
I
know it's still an ACL injury is difficult to come back from, but his game was never explosive pace or anything. So I think he still should be fine. But even guys like we mentioned, Sugo earlier gets like in the big game. So it must be.
Tanlongo will be suspended every other game because he's
rack up the new Palhinha work because he's gonna get all these cards.
And he'll start being suspended every booking he gets.
Yeah. He's going to be suspended every 5 games because he's going to be the new Palhinha. He's going to accumulate a
god. It goes 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, yeah, it goes down after he's he's done. He's missed that season suspensions. That's not happening.
Yeah, but Richard, what are your top 3? And then if you have any others that you want to get off your chest as well.
Goalkeeper in no particular order right now. I'll reorder these. Goalkeeper's got to be 1. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to Adon and the Europa League account propaganda, but they need to have a plan. Well, this will lead into one of my points that's off the board later. Center back, I'm not overly concerned. I do think the tactics need to change. I think it's stubborn, like you said, Sam. There's never a plan B, and I do think right wing back is a huge one, and we knew that was going to happen. And I'm glad CSGAO kind of sort of rounding into, I guess, some bit of form, but you can't in good conscience roll with him as your number 1 option, and I guess Esteves as your number 2, who's just been banished to the Shadow Realm anyways. My big issue is just fucking plan. Like, have a plan. Don't just wing it in the off season. For the love of God, like, show some.
They pretended like they had a plan this season. It's very clear that there was no plan.
To be fair,
it was evident from the
or there was a plan.
Window
it was a
opened
fucking shitty ass plan.
I think Amorim always had a plan. Verandas, Hugo Viana.
I think the administration had 0 plan.
We knew that the roster was short going into the season.
We knew the roster was short heading into the last offseason.
And then it got shorter throughout. Like, we lost Porro midseason, for example. Like, it only got shorter.
We lost Mateus Nunes the day before the Casco against Porto. And I agree with what you're saying, but I think that's definitely a Verandas and Hugo Viana deal.
No, and that's what I'm getting to is don't panic sell or panic buy if it's not needed. Because it does nothing to help. It just
here's the thing that's going to be interesting. Actually, probably is Ugarte is going to finish like a couple games short of us owning 10% more of his pass. So they're going to try to have him play in like the first 2-3 league games of the season,
just to get that extra 10%,
to get him up to like 80%, so that they can then sell on deadline day and get the most profit. Don't rule out some fucked up scenario involving something like that.
No, I wouldn't. That wouldn't shock because how many
preliminaries of
how many
Europa
games?
League.
How many games left does he need to?
I think he's gonna end up being like between I think 4 games short or 6 games short or something like that.
Does Europa League? I'm just gonna use the hypothetical. If we advance in Europa League, would those games count towards that as well? Or
I think so. Yeah. No.
Okay, so you could still, as of this.
Yeah. So let's just say there's like 4 Europa League games
Plus
and
the
then
6 league games
two,
left.
3 league games before in August. So it's like you could maybe get 7 games in August.
Yeah, because you have what? You have 6 games left this season, assuming he starts.
Sometimes
all
those are
16
initial
games,
Europa
but
League games, or even in July, the earliest ones.
they're like early August, or late July, depending on we'd probably be August though, if I remember correctly. When we had the league winning season, we were playing like a Euro. We played Aberdeen and then lost in like August. In those, because it was like single elimination because of COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my off the board thing, is just going with a goddamn plan. You can't in good conscience think that like just winging it and flying by the seat of your pants is gonna work. And like I said earlier, I'm the proponent of it might suck for a couple years. We're used to it. Just do a rebuild. If you're gonna do it, like this is probably gonna be the time to do it. And yeah, it's gonna hurt.
Ain't for Wemby.
Yeah. Well, suck hard for Connor Bedard. But yeah, if you're gonna do it, now would be the time, because you have a lot of contracts that are gonna be coming off the books next couple years, anyways. You have players that you could sell and still get a good amount of cash for. Like even if you sell 50% of pot at like 40 million, Danny said, you're still getting 20 million back, which is still a good return on investment for him. It just sucks because it could be a lot more. If you sell Ugart and you get whether it's 70 or 80%, it's still going to be a lot. Edwards, you own 60%. Inaccio's a homegrown guy. You're keeping that whole pass. Like, if you were gonna start one, now would be the time, because you can make like a cut like 100, well over 100 million, maybe close to 200 if you play your cards right. But I don't trust them to play their cards right. I expect them to play their cards like Homer Simpson at a poker game. So not well at all.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm going to leave one of King Jeff's questions, because we've answered it before, which was the manager, like who would we replace?
There's no right answer to it, anyways. Like,
yeah, I feel like we've had that question quite a few times, so I'm going to leave that one. But this one is quite interesting. So King Jeff 33 asks, if Sporting fall short against Juventus on Thursday, do you see Ruben Amorim leaving his post effective immediately? I'll answer that one. No.
No,
maybe in the summer.
The severance, their severance pays a lot, anyways.
He might say so. He loves saying like ambiguous things in press.
He might say something cryptic in a press conference.
No, I'll tell you exactly what he'll say. He'll say, "I'll stay here until the club doesn't want me here," because he says that every fucking
he says
time.
That all the time.
Yeah.
No to the first, and also no to the second. I don't see Varandas falling on his sword unless like the members are like gonna force him out.
No, I don't see either fall.
I don't see either.
Think that one is. I think Amorim is more likely to leave than Varandas, because I think there's zero chance that Varandas leaves.
No, I agree. Unless in the next election in a few years, like someone comes along or something comes out that like the members have no choice but to vote him out. Like he's here for the long haul. Sorry to tell you. And the two, I think Chris is bang on. Amorim might be more likely, and I still think we roll with him heading into next season, anyways, because that severance package is pretty sweet.
Yeah.
So,
and on that point as well, for Varandas, the election thing, the way he can swing it, and which he will, but I'm not giving him credit for, is that he's made a lot of money for the club, and like wherever that goes is another story. But financially, if you look at who he sold, and to be fair, he was the one who brought in Matheus Nunes and Pedro Porro and all of these. Like, I know the Bruno Fernandes one was Bruno de Carvalho technically, and there was some others that you could credit to Bruno de Carvalho. But this, like, he has done well.
He's done tidy business. You can't criticize. He's done some very tidy transfer business since he's come on. Like, you can't criticize him for some of that, right? Like, you got to give some credit where it's due.
The majority of the older members will say he's made money. We're not in. Well, we're still in debt, but like we're not.
We've been perpetually in debt for like 20 years since we built the stadium.
And when you look at the money Benfica have spent, maybe not Porto because they've not really spent a lot, but Benfica this year especially spending a lot of money. Like, you can always just write it off. But then, let's say we not this season, because he can just chalk it up to like a rebuild or like just a one-off season, because we finished fourth under Varandas before, and obviously he was pretty much, that was the closest he's ever been to getting kicked out, was the protest. And then COVID saved him massively, because one, COVID happened, obviously, then no fans in stadium.
COVID hurt every team, so like it was a bit of a cover up, but like it's also not wrong. Like it hurt us massively.
No, it hurt us, but it didn't hurt.
It didn't hurt him.
I think Varandas was either under pressure to leave because there was a big crowd. I remember probably March 5th. The date rings a bell. It
was early March. Yeah. You're right.
Protesting, and that was, I think, either the day after, the day before Ruben Amorim was brought in, but everyone knew he was coming anyway. So that saved him, I suppose. That was probably the closest he's ever been to leaving. But yeah, he's not leaving until probably the next election. But even still, I can see him winning that as well. Just
unless you have another like 1 or 2 seasons that are as bad, if not worse, than this season. Like, there's no way they're forcing him out.
Yeah, that too. But like, no disrespect, because I know we had like Nuno Sousa on here before, who was a presidential candidate, but I don't think there's anyone, I don't know what the word is, just brave enough to go against him and win. Like,
there's just no one charismatic enough, and I just don't think there's anybody who's outside the box enough to mount a serious challenge. Realistically, like if you look at what do you like? Let's make a checklist. You're going up against Varandas. What do you need to actually have a fighting chance besides I'm not him?
Yeah, Nuno Sousa
you have to have a strategy.
Very good ideas, but like I think it's the charisma thing. Or like, to be fair, no one was beating Varandas in that election because it was literally the year after we won the title.
No, he was that election was going to be whoever.
Jesus Christ could have ran for that election and still lost.
He would have still finished runner up in a close race. Like, yeah, I think whoever was the president, you're coming off of like one of your most successful seasons. Like, you're not losing that election. Like, and if you are, there might be shenanigans afoot. Like, I'd be the first to raise alarm. I was like, really? Because that would have baffled me if he didn't win that election. I would have thought something was actually up.
Yeah, definitely. Chris, I don't know if you were muted or not, because I thought I heard you say something, but like I didn't pick it up.
Yeah. Yeah, you're muted for us. Unmute. Try now. He's got technical difficulties here.
What if I unplug my headphones?
There we go.
Okay. We'll just mute ourselves while you're talking because we don't want the echo.
Yeah, Figo always gets like linked by like the media and shit, but like, has he ever shown any interest in anything sporting ever?
No, it's like Ronaldo. They like share.
No, they've never really shown an interest in the club. Like, it's always been like some weird fan theory things. Like, and I don't even know. Like okay, let's say if he runs, he'd have a chance of winning just by name value alone. Yes. Okay.
And also,
hypothetically, he wins. Then what?
No disrespect to Sporting as well. He wants to be the president of UEFA. And like,
he's the guy who's got big. Luis Figo's always been, he's a phenomenal player, or was a phenomenal player. He's always been of the mindset of he's got bigger fish to fry.
He's a shady guy in general, I think.
Yeah, he is.
He's a bit of a weird guy. You're not wrong. Like, he's. Do you
remember him telling the president or the former Prince of Spain to move to Portugal because there's no taxes?
Yeah.
And Augusto Ignacio is a good point as well, but I don't think
he wants the headache.
Yeah,
I think he's a guy.
But he is like you have to be someone in that category to have any sort of chance.
It's got to be someone who is liked enough by the fans. Like that's what it's going to be. It has to be someone with some name value. Like,
but they have to have some institutional help,
like knowledge.
Yeah, to do all this shit.
Because like everybody talked about João Benedito, but like João Benedito when he ran, like had zero like knowledge of what would be needed to actually run a club. He was a good.
He technically still won. He won the election technically, like
by popular, but not by. It's like the electoral college. Yeah. He won the popular vote.
That's so dumb.
I do disagree with I think one vote should be one vote.
Yeah.
Like, regardless, like, I don't care about your membership seniority. Because, like, all it does is it also just discourages new people from signing up as a member.
First landmark.
What's your first landmark? 5 years?
5 years, I think you get.
You get something? Vote. Oh, your vote counts for 2. Well,
Yeah.
that'd be great if they made it easy for you to fucking vote. You can actually vote
Not
somehow.
like I can ever vote. Yeah.
No, unless you happen to plan a vacation around when a goddamn election is, or
Chris
like a
can vote
general
after
assembly.
the election. 2
Yeah,
weeks
you
after.
can vote after the fact. Like that's the point too. Like
But-
it's why I've never become a socio, because there's no incentive. My vote counts for shit, and I can't even vote anyways because there's no way to vote outside of Portugal anyways. So what do I get out of it? Out of being a socio, besides I'm giving the team whatever money, and well, Canadian dollars is monopoly money, so I'm giving them like $20 Canadian a month or something stupid.
Yeah. But
Like that's the point. It's why you don't have it's why your socios don't really go up anymore, because there's no incentive for it.
But it's very dumb how it's like, because this person is older than me and has lived longer than me and has signed up longer than me, because he's like 95, can get like 6-7 votes. But like, because I'm a teenager who's only been alive.
Because I'm like a 20-year-old, like from Stevenage or Kingston or wherever.
Yeah,
my vote counts for shit.
people are really gonna register and then like swing the election. That's really gonna be something that definitely happens.
Yeah.
Like all these people are just gonna sign up right before and then have one vote and then they'll all swing the election. Like, yeah, that's definitely gonna happen. Just
It could, yeah.
electronic
possibility.
voting, like, yeah, that shit's gonna get hacked, bro. Like Estonia can run their presidential election, yeah, but like on a like,
We can't.
But the Sporting's thing will get hacked. It's too much, you know.
The U.S. presidential election had electronic and mail-in voting, one of the superpowers of Earth. But Sporting, just like we're not sure about it.
Technology is just too advanced, man, and also we're too fucking like important, dude. Like there's just too
also like if they hack like
interested in this, you
here's
know.
the thing I'm gonna post the club. Sam, clip this up as a TikTok. Eventually, you get hacked. It's not your information; it's my information, anyways. They're accessing my credit card, not yours. They're accessing my my identification, not yours. So even if you do an electronic voting, we're the ones getting fucked more than the team, anyways. Like,
also, who has the time to hack someone's vote just to vote for another presidential election for Sporting?
touch grass. If you're gonna hack the system to change a vote in the Sporting presidential election,
dude. Wreak havoc.
Like, bro, like touch grass.
But no, the thing is as well, like we mentioned the American one, they have both digital and posting, where it's called mail ballots.
Yeah,
both of them are still like, well, you can. They said that the postal ballot was rigged, and then also the online voting was rigged. So it's like there's no solid way to.
There's no way to prove it though. Like,
well, yeah. Anyway,
I'm sorry. It's just like it's a mess. I'm sorry. Actually, no, I'm not sorry. Fuck you, Fernandez. That might not get us invited to any team functions after that.
there goes our invite.
There goes our invite. We watched the show because they banned you from getting Trevante Williams. We know they watched at least once.
Yeah, that's true. And I know Bernardo is a good follower of mine.
Yeah, they definitely have a guy to keep tabs on, like all those sporting publications.
And mutual.
My good friend and good meme.
Your best pal to your buddy bud.
We also have like guys like Rodrigo Roquette that follows us as well, and there's another one as well that follows us who is an actual something to do with sport. I can't remember. Maybe it's on Sporting TV or something. But
yeah. I mean, I imagine like the club that has people that like keeps tabs on like us and like all the other like sporting podcasts.
Someone told me, I don't remember who it was.
Miguel Braga.
An unnamed, unidentified source told me that when Sporting signs new players, they recommend them block X amount of people. Because I don't know if you remember, like, I think Zufidal was one of the guys who had like a lot of random people blocked that he had never interacted with.
Yeah.
And I 100% because I think it's like on day one, he got his pamphlet and it said like block these 50 people.
And his team goes in and does it for him.
Not everybody does it, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like he did it, and that is literally like evidence that this could be true, you know?
Yeah, they know who they and I mean every team in sports has where they say like here's a list of shows and like interviews and like publications you can do, and then they have some that are like
To be fair, I feel like
Semi-block
most of them
level.
aren't even that active on social media, and it's just like
No.
a company that like posts for them, post pics of training, post a pic of
Yeah.
them in the game.
90%. Most of these
Great
guys
match,
don't run their social medias.
Great
Like,
match, lads. We go again Thursday. It's like, bro, like they're not posting that, you know?
no, like they might, out of every 10 posts, they might post one
Yeah,
might be from
when
them.
it's like them posting like their kids playing,
Or
it's
like a
like, yeah,
vacation
he's
pic.
filmed
Like,
that with his phone, bro. Like I
Yeah.
don't think someone did that for him, but like all like the team related shit, like
no,
especially if they're
they
big
get a guy.
players,
They get people to do that. Like they.
posting that, yeah.
If
No,
you're
I don't-
telling me Sporar has someone take pictures of his dogs, I'm not going to be happy.
No, Sperard,
No, I'd like to believe that he's posting those
but
pictures
dude,
himself.
he always posts like sick game day graphics. It's like who's making those? You know?
Someone's making those for him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see the Bournemouth player do one the other day where it was just
No.
like made in MS Paint? Oh, try and find it. It's hilarious.
No, I didn't see that, but I really wish I had. That sounds amazing.
But no, it was generally just like obviously like a 2-minute job in like
Yeah.
MS Paint. But I'll try and
Like,
find it.
we done Sunday we battle. Like,
Yeah,
I
so
wish
it's
I had seen that. That sounds so funny.
generic sayings.
It's always like on Wednesday we ball, or
Not
like
the result we
on
wanted.
Tuesday we fight, or not the result, or we keep fighting until the end. Like it's all very like they have a list of like 15 quotes or something, and they just kind of recycle them and like vary them every so often.
Yeah,
They
mix it up a little bit.
They'll mix and match some,
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, no, yeah, I'll find it and I'll put it in the group chat and I'll send
Please
it
do.
on live as well if we're still on. But just as we start to wrap up and maybe get to the end, I'm just going to share one more tweet from our account, which is the race. And I put in speech marks, obviously, because it's not really a race anymore, which a lot of people seem to miss in the replies, which is okay. Sometimes sarcasm doesn't translate properly.
There's no sarcasm font on Twitter, right? Like that's the problem.
Yeah.
So stuff people just get like Russell Jimmy.
I would say that's letting people know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But 7 games remaining for Braga: Casapira away, Portimonense at home, Benfica away, Santa Clara at home, Boavista away, Paços de Ferreira at home, Sporting Guimarães away, Famalicão at home, Paços de Ferreira away, Marítimo at home, Benfica at home, Vizela away. Richard, just quickly, who's got the hardest schedule, and do you think Sporting will come back from the 7-point deficit?
No, we're not coming back. It's done. And we have a tougher schedule. They have 2 relegation candidates. Or actually, they have Paços de Ferreira. They have, they have 2 relegation candidates. We have 1. I think our schedule is tougher. We have Guimarães, who we know will likely play us tough. Famalicão always plays us tough. Paços de Ferreira, we should probably win. Marítimo, it's not Madeira, but they're a bit of a boogeyman, right? Benfica's going to clinch the title if they haven't already clinched the title, they're going to clinch it in that game because that's our luck. Vizela's an okay team. I think we have a bit of a tougher schedule, not by much, but a bit tougher. And I just don't see them dropping enough games for us to try to make. Even if we win out, we still need them to drop like 3 games. And I don't see them dropping. I don't see them losing 3 games or losing 2 games and drawing a game or 2. Like, I just don't see it happen. I think too much needs to go our way. Like we could draw we could draw the next 2 games very easily. I think I see them. I think they have better odds of winning their next 2 games than we do of winning just our next 2 games, let alone the other 7 or the other 5 each. Like they have Benfica away, but they actually always play Benfica quite well. They've got a couple wins the last 2 years away at Benfica.
They're about the same, but they have an 8-point advantage. So.
Yeah, they've got they don't need much to happen. They need to win like realistically like 2 more games, and like it's pretty much done anyways.
Yeah.
Like they win their next 2 games, like it's done. You're going to make up the same 7 or 8 points in 5 games? Like it's not happening.
Yeah.
Like the more that we just kind of keep stalling, the more it becomes inevitable, right? Even if you cut it down a point next week or 2 points next week, great. You still have 5 points to make up. Like I don't see them dropping enough games and us winning enough games to realistically make it happen. And I said this months ago and people called me out on it, but I'm sorry. I think it's 4th place for us.
Yeah.
I think it's deserved, and I think it's deserved too. Sorry to cut you off. I think it's deserved. They played like garbage for a long stretch of the season. They've been better. Like outside of the 2 games where we pattered them 5-0, which I think were kind of anomalies. Like we've been not good this season. I think 4th place is deserving of this team right now.
Yeah. All I was going to say is like, although like we're framing it as Sporting playing badly, we should also give a shout out to how well Braga have played. Because to be fair,
For sure,
mathematically they're still in the title hunt as well. Like they're not that far off the title.
They're not that far off from Porto even for 2nd.
And they've been very good all season. Like they've not really had a bad drop off. I know they've had a few inconsistent games, but like they've been great, and like they've made smart signings, and they've got obviously a good team chemistry and a good manager. So for me, I agree with you. I think Braga take it, but it also wouldn't surprise me if Sporting were to come back, just because, like I said, in big games we seem to play a lot better than we do in the smaller. I don't want to say smaller games because that's unfair to the teams, but not as big games, I should say. And Benfica, especially, I'm looking at Benfica and that Braga schedule. Benfica are hitting the panic button. They need to win the rest of their games. They need to win. So I think
Braga always plays Benfica tough. They've taken multiple points off them at the Luge in the recent years. So like that's like if they win that game, I think it's definitely curtains. Even if they draw that game, it's curtains for us.
Yeah, and I'm looking Casapira away is tough, but I was also looking Santa Clara needs to win in the relegation battle. So do Patrick.
Santa Clara sucks. They're gonna wash Santa Clara surely.
Yeah, I know, but like
they should.
If Santa Clara are going to try, it has to be a team like that. It has to be the 3rd game of the season. They might be already down by that point. Who knows? But they will have to push. And if Patrick de Ferreira aren't already down by that point as well, will be there. Whereas Guimarães, I don't really think have much to play for. Neither do Famalicão.
No, they're still fighting for that 5th spot, I think.
Are they? Okay.
I'm going to pull up the standings right now and I'll let you know in 2 seconds. You keep rambling.
Yeah, for Famalicão, again, I don't think I have enough to play for. Patrick Ferreira, I mentioned. Maritimo, again, a relegation threatened team. Benfica could potentially win the thing at the league at their stadium. So I think that's definitely an extra incentive for Sporting to win.
Guimarães has 41 points. Arouca has 45. So they're only 4 points back. So they're still in the hunt.
Oh, okay.
So they'll want to. I mean, they always play us relatively tough usually, but they'll be gunning for that because they'll be hoping for. Because Arouca dropped points this week, they've cut to 4. If they can drop points next week, they can cut it to as little as 1 or even 2, depending, right? Like
yeah.
So they're still fighting for a European spot, which I'm sure they would like, and they've played it relatively okay this season. So that's gonna be a much tougher game. I think people want to give them credit for.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Chris, what about you? What are you sort of in the same camp as us that we have the hardest schedule and you don't think we're going to make up the 7 points?
I actually think the schedules are about the same, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think we come back.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah, I agree.
And just to let you know as well, this to you, Richard and Chris, that I've put the meme of the Bournemouth players thing in our group chat. So feel free to take a look. I'll get it up on screen as well, just so we can all reminisce in the great.
Oh my god! Oh my god! That's amazing. I love that.
I'll tell you, it reminds me of like a church banner.
Yo, honestly, it feels very like random church in like the middle of nowhere banner.
Or like a
look
Sunday
at the state of this.
Sunday league.
This is like Sunday league or like district league. Like Beta Mars in like the 4th division of Portugal, and they do better graphics than this, man. Like, come on.
I think as well the funny thing was he put the wrong time. So it was like 6:45.
No, brother, proofread. Come on.
I don't think any Premier League game was kicked off at 6:45.
I've seen teams in the Portuguese district do better graphics than this, man. Come on. Like,
I will say, if he did it himself, fair play, because he at least put a little bit of effort into it, I suppose.
Sure.
And made it his own. But it does look like it's just come off.
It's just so why? What's with the Bournemouth bottom like logo on the bottom? Like he's
It's like
cut half of it
weird, like
off.
weirdly, it's like circular or something.
Yeah, he's cut like most of the like a good chunk of the logo off, but he also has it in the top. I'm
That's what I
sorry,
was
the
about to say.
designer in me just has so many questions. Like
Yeah.
white font is like added. Oh, there's just so many things. Because I design stuff for like the channels. There's so many questions I have, and none of them are gonna get answered.
Yeah. But I thought that would be a good laugh to
That's
get
pretty
us out of the way.
funny.
Yeah, let's go with Chris. I believe you've got some loose ends to catch us up on.
Yeah, just a couple things happening since the last pod. The Jean Lucas Monaco dude who just doesn't even count for Monaco continues to be linked to Sporting, so that might actually be one of the first deals of the summer. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Trincon's official. Daniel Carisu retired. Amorim again linked to Chelsea by the Guardian. Not sure if that's real or not. St. Just and Paulinho could both be out for the season. Not that surprising considering that we're only like about a month left.
Yeah.
And then Jovan also out for the season. I guess this is still that calf injury he picked up.
He must have we were saying before the show, he must have like re-aggravated in
no one
training
even
or
cares
something.
about
Like
Jovan.
I don't even know.
I forgot he was alive until I just mentioned him. So
Yeah.
he's out for the season apparently. So damn. And then Juve lost to Sassuolo at the weekend.
Yeah.
And obviously we drop points as well. And UEFA Youth League Final Four, I believe, is on Wednesday.
What time?
Probably usually early.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're before the Champions League games, aren't they?
Yeah, it's the thing. Like I can never watch them my time because I'm always like in the middle of a
And
meeting
then I
or
think the
something.
final, should we win, is at the weekend.
Cool.
Okay. Well, if we're in that, we can definitely watch.
Yeah, so
That's
that's
Alright.
it. Cool.
Yeah.
Before we wrap up, of course, one more time for everyone who doesn't listen,
The folks at home.
for the folks at home, and for any new subscribers that, like I said, come from the Juventus pod or our support, whatever podcast we've done before, even if you're just randomly scrolling across this. Once we reach 1,000 subscribers, so I believe we're about 45 away, we'll give away a shirt from Lucha Verde, any shirt of this season, and we'll pay shipping costs as well, and it will all be free. So you'll save yourself about €100. All you have to do is take a screenshot of you subscribing to Sporting160EN on YouTube and reply to the pinned tweet. Link is in the description. I've made sure to add it there, so you can just go through the link and do it
to be
there.
fair, you're also welcome to subscribe and not try to win the shirt, I guess, and not send
Yeah.
proof. Like,
Yeah, like if you just want to subscribe for the sake
Yeah,
of subscribing, like go
welcome
for
to
it.
do that also.
Like we're
Yeah.
gonna do the draw live on the show whenever we hit it. We're gonna do it live, and
But
maybe
if
the
you
odds
are
be in your
subscribing,
favor.
you might as well answer, right?
Yeah, you might as well. It doesn't hurt. Like it's a
Yeah.
free shirt, and especially if you're outside of Portugal, because that kills like Danny, Chris, and I for shipping and exchange.
Yeah, and like now that I've figured out how to put like birthday animations on StreamYard, man, we can make a whole like game show out of it, and like we could do spin a
We're gonna be,
wheel,
like, fucking
some
Price
shit.
is Right up in this shit.
Yeah, be like Prime Bob Barker in his
Yeah.
early days. But
Not
yeah,
that Drew Carey guy.
but yeah, we'll wrap up here. The birthday boy Danny, as you probably would know, left. Had to leave. He had other plans. He was very kind of us to join him on his birthday, obviously during a day of celebration. So thank you, Danny. Be sure to follow him down there as well. Shout out to Steph as well. Does not have social media, but shout out to Steph. Make sure you follow Chris here, and you can follow Richard there. And if you want to see some of my awful tweets, you can follow me here if it actually wants to load. There we
Only
go.
hot takes on the Sam Fonseca Twitter account.
Hot takes and memes. The one I did about St. just earlier today about like the Pete, was it Pete? Is it Peter? Whatever they're called. Shooting like the racehorses, like if they get injured. And they were like,
Oh
"What
yeah,
if this was people?" And I was like, "No, I'm not saying-" I was
I didn't
laughing.
see
I was
that
like,
tweet.
"Yeah."
I missed that one on the timeline. I'll have to go back and find it.
But no, it was a good one. And also make sure to follow Sporting160_EN on Twitter. That will have all your transfer news and all game news, and just also some memes on there as well. And usually some controversial takes which get us in trouble with a lot of sporting fans, unfortunately. But
Some of them not even controversial. It's just like people take things out of context and they just roll with it.
yeah, like the Adan thing, which we were proven right in the end. So It works out.
We're never wrong. And if we are, shut up.
But yeah, make sure to follow us on Spotify, Instagram, TikTok, SoundCloud, and everywhere you get your podcast. We should be there. And again, thank you for watching, and we'll hopefully see you on Thursday with the Juventus guys again. Hopefully a better result than this one and then the last one. But without further ado, peace.